The internet has decided to redraw the original Peach sprite. And where there is an art trend, there is me saying, hey wait, should I do that? And yeah, I'm gonna do that. But I'm gonna do it a little bit different. I'm gonna look into the original rules that the Peach sprite was following so that I can build a truly authentic Peach sprite. Once I've done with that, I'm gonna build my own version as well. So grab your plumber hats and your power stars, it's pixel time. Hey guys, I'm Andrew Robinson of Robinson Pixels. Let's take a moment to acknowledge what we're doing here. We are taking modern tools and technology, looking at a very old game created by some of the greatest developers of all time, singling out one individual sprite that would have been on screen for like 30 seconds, and we're saying, I can beat that. It's not exactly a fair comparison, but if it makes you feel any better, Nintendo probably felt the same way about this sprite, because they also redid it in Super Mario Bros. 2. Not that one. I'm talking about the Lost Levels. They used the exact same color scheme, which was only 3 colors. The black was actually transparent. Now in both sprites, she is 24 pixels tall. Compare that to her sprites in Super Mario Bros. 2, that one, where she is 32 pixels tall. So why is she so little here? It's probably because of this guy. Mario's original base sprite is 16 by 16. Now with a super mushroom, he's double that height at 32 pixels tall. Peach is perfectly in between, which I'm sure they did that on purpose so she wouldn't be super tall or super short, depending on Mario's height when you finally beat the game. If you do manage to beat the game. I was a grown-up before I actually pulled this off. But I also have to mention that within the game, everything was super condensed to make sure they had a really small file size. They cut corners everywhere. It's why the bushes and the clouds are the same sprite, but recolored. So on the bottom of Peach's dress, even though it looks like she's made up of 6 8x8 tiles, it's really only 5. They only did 1 tile and flipped it to save space. So let's do that too, in level 1, the first draft. The first thing I wanted to address was that nose. Honestly, the only problem with the original sprite was that they tried to give her a nose and a mouth. And from this angle, you really can't have both. So I'm drawing her whole head facing sideways, just like Mario's. Now for this design, I didn't want to go full modern Peach. When the game was first released, she didn't even really have an established look. From the box art to the merchandise, she always looked a little bit different. Now a few versions had very rosy cheeks, so I thought I'd try that out. And while her hands are definitely doing something, I went for the classic prayer hands pose from Mario 64. I made sure that bottom dress was symmetrical like the original. And we've got something. I don't like it, not yet. And actually on the internet, I found a design document that is very useful for level 2, Miyamoto's design. Look at this, it is a little fuzzy photograph, but it's got the original drawing of what Miyamoto envisioned Peach to look like in the game. Let's just try and redraw that. You know those kids' drawing books where they put a character in a grid and then you're supposed to draw that same thing on your own grid? This feels like that, but the grid is out of focus and tilted and not exactly pixel perfect. I did think this crown was interesting. It's much larger than the one used in the final version, and obviously a lot pointier. I tried out some patterns on her dress, which he didn't have in the drawing, but I didn't like how it looked just as a solid flat color. And then just to see, I tried out recoloring her with the colors from the original drawing, and that sure is a sprite, alright. Now my theory is they didn't go with this design because she looks a little too royal, a little too regal. She looks more like Queen Peach, not Princess Peach, and that's what we're wanting here. So actually I'm going to take what I've learned from these first 2 drafts and apply those to a modern Peach design in level 3, the new Peach. Now this sprite starts out pretty rough. Like a lot of my sprites, I just want something on the screen before I start refining it into the version I want. I consider giving her whites in her eyes, but really the only characters in the game with that are the googly-eyed monsters, so that doesn't last. What also won't last are the black outlines, like the one I've got under her chin. I think it looks good, but again, I'm trying to capture a specific style, and the original Peach sprite didn't use anything like that. Now it's the same reason I am giving her this big, broad smile. I think Nintendo wanted her to look happy, and of all the emotions you can convey in pixel art, I do think happy is actually one of the most difficult. I dig this style, but I do think it's giving Daisy energy just a little bit more than Peach. So let's give her a prayer pose too. Just close her hands together and scoot her head down 1 pixel so she's more deep in thought. Maybe she opens her eyes, sees it's Mario, and yay, happy times! Also note that these sprites all do follow that original rule with the 5 tiles, but this whole challenge took off because everybody was kind of doing their own thing. So let's do that too in the final stage, the Robinson Pixels version. If you thought that last sprite started out rough, oh buddy, this one starts out bad. I still want my sprite to fit into that 24 pixel high by 16 wide area, and I'm still using the same 3 colors. But anything else goes, and so far it's going nowhere. Until these highlights, right here. When I drew these in, it's like my brain locked in and I knew the vibe I wanted. I want it to look like a pretty damn detailed, kick-ass princess who also happens to canonically be a damsel right now, but she could beat you up. The cartoonishly big face? Out. This Mrs. Claus-ass dress? Out. In the games, Peach wears short dresses when she plays golf and tennis, so maybe that'll work here. And I really like this design. I think it's what they could have done if they had taken the first Mario game, made the live-action movie a little more faithfully, and then made a game based off of that movie. This is kind of what I think that would look like. But now that I've made it this far, why don't we go full circle and apply the modern Peach design to this style structure? Let's lengthen that dress. And give her gloves. And reshape her hair. And give her a thoughtful prayer pose. Hee hee! I am really liking this sprite here, but it's lacking just that little spark of joy that the Mario series is known for. Can we take that original 5 pixel cluster from that mouth in the original sprite and apply it to this one? I think so, and we'll find out right after this Pixel Peach montage. If you enjoyed this deep dive into design, you may enjoy some of the videos I've done on other games. If that sounds like it's up your alley, check out this video right over here. See ya! Well, it finally happened and I forgot to press record. Let's redo the whole thing.